It was a dark and stormy night, and the only sound that could be heard was the sound of raindrops hitting the roof. John was driving down an old country road, trying to make his way home from a long day at work. The road was deserted, and the only light came from his headlights. Suddenly, his car engine died, and he was left stranded in the middle of nowhere. As John tried to start the car, he heard a strange noise coming from outside. He cautiously opened the door and stepped out into the rain, peering into the darkness. That's when he saw it, a figure in the distance, moving towards him. John tried to run, but his legs felt heavy and slow. The figure got closer, and John could see that it was a man dressed in tattered clothes, with a sinister grin on his face. The man reached out and grabbed John's arm, pulling him close. "You shouldn't have come here," he said in a low voice. "This is my territory, and I don't take kindly to intruders." John struggled to free himself, but the man was too strong. The next thing John knew, he was waking up in a dark and damp basement, tied to a chair. The man was standing in front of him, holding a knife. "You see, I've been hunted for years," the man explained. "And now, I hunt those who dare to venture into my territory." John tried to scream for help, but the man clamped a hand over his mouth. "No one will hear you," he said with a chilling laugh. "You're mine now, and I'm going to enjoy making you suffer." As the man advanced on him, John realized that he was trapped, with no escape from the terror that awaited him. He closed his eyes, bracing himself for the pain to come. John opened his eyes and saw that he was no longer in the basement. Instead, he was standing in a dense forest, surrounded by tall trees. He looked down and saw that he was holding a map in his hand. He tried to remember how he got there, but his memory was foggy. As he looked at the map, he realized that he was lost and had no idea how to get back to civilization. He started to walk, hoping to find a way out of the forest. But the deeper he went, the more disoriented he became. The trees seemed to close in on him, blocking out the light. That's when he heard the sound of footsteps behind him. He spun around, but there was no one there. The footsteps grew louder, coming closer. John started to run, but the footsteps continued to follow him, no matter how fast he ran. Suddenly, John stumbled and fell to the ground. He looked up and saw the same figure from the basement standing over him, brandishing a knife. "You can't escape me," the figure said with a menacing grin. John tried to get up and run, but his legs wouldn't move. He was paralyzed with fear. The figure leaned in close, the knife raised high. Just as the knife was about to come down, John woke up, drenched in sweat and trembling with fear. It was all just a nightmare, but the memory of the terror stayed with him long after he woke up. He knew that he would never forget the fear that he felt in that dream. He would never forget the figure that hunted him through the forest, threatening to take his life.